Have you ever thought about doing a short-term rental or an Airbnb in Las Vegas? We're in a city that is fueled by tourism, should be a great idea. Navigating and being a host of an Airbnb in Las Vegas can be very tricky. You might have seen my video before about Airbnb licensing in Las Vegas. I'm doing an update right now. You know what changes have been done and any updates with licensing that's a little more clear now. First things first, you have to understand that Las Vegas is separated in a few parts here. You have the actual city of Las Vegas, you have North Las Vegas, which is its own city, and then you have Henderson, and then you have these areas called Unincorporated Clark County. So there's 4 different regions that you have to consider what kind of licensing or what kind of rules they have for getting a short-term rental license for your Airbnb or Vrbo or whatever you want to do. So let's start with the city of Las Vegas. In the city limits of Las Vegas, it does require a short-term rental license, okay, if you want to do it within the city limits. It has to be a owner-occupied home with 3 or fewer bedrooms. So if you live in a 4 or 5 bedroom house, you can't do it. And it has to be owner occupied. So that means you can't rent out your whole house. You only can do room share situations. You also have to be 660 feet away from the next Airbnb or short-term rental. And then on top of the licensing, of course, you have to adhere to like noise ordinances and parking compliance as well. The annual fee for a license in the city of Las Vegas is $500 a year, and the application process includes an inspection of your property too. I'll put a link in the description below about where you can get all the details on how you start the application process below. So if that doesn't work for you and you want to short-term rent out or Airbnb out a whole property, then let's look outside of the city limits of Las Vegas, starting with Henderson. So Henderson, similar, it requires a business license. There are no specific restrictions on the property type, all right? So you can have a bigger house. You can have 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, pool, grotto, all that stuff, all right? So there's no restrictions there. It does not have to be owner occupied like in the city of Las Vegas. And Henderson restricts it to, you have to be 1,000 square feet away from the next short-term rental, okay? So if you have one next door, you're SOL, you can't do it. There are noise ordinances you have to adhere to, and then parking compliance as well too. The annual license fee in the city of Henderson for your short-term rental, $820 per year. Now let's move on to North Las Vegas now. It does require a business license, just the same like in Henderson. There are no restrictions to your property type. It could be small single family, it could be a big, huge house, whatever. There's no restrictions on it. Or if you're within an HOA or something like that, they might have rules on that too, but the city of North Las Vegas does not. And in North Las Vegas, you will need a CUP, which means a conditional use permit, all right? And you'll also need a business license as well. Minimum distance required between you and the next short-term rental in North Las Vegas is 660 feet. So in North Las Vegas, you need the license. You have to use noise monitoring devices to be compliant with keeping the noise down there. I think that's different. North Las Vegas requires neighbor notification. You know what? That's just best practice anyways. I mean, I know it's kind of required in North Las Vegas, but if you were in Henderson or something like that too, or anywhere else, I mean, I would recommend that anyways. You should let your neighbors know what you're doing, because if they're seeing different people come in and out of your house, different people every weekend and all that stuff, you know, someone's living there with their family and stuff, it's not going to make them feel comfortable, all right? So you should be doing that anyways, all right? I mean, I always recommend to my clients, notify your neighbors, whether you have to or not, just as a courtesy. Tell your neighbor, hey, I'm doing a short-term rental here, and if there's any problems, if they're making too much noise, if they're parked in your spot or anything like that, please let me know so I have a chance to make it right. Because if you don't do that and your neighbor's upset with you and they report you to, code enforcement of the city, and all of a sudden they're coming out here, they find out you don't have a license or you don't have noise monitoring equipment. I mean, it could just be a whole bunch of trouble for you. You might get your license revoked and you're getting fines and things like that. I mean, it's just the right thing to do anyways, all right? But North Las Vegas requires it. Cost in North Las Vegas for this license is the highest in the whole area. It's $900 per year. And the conditional use permit is a one-time fee of $100. So it's $1,000 out the gate. So final section is unincorporated Clark County. So The city of Las Vegas and North Las Vegas and Henderson, we're all within Clark County, all right? That's the county governs everything that's not in the city. And because Las Vegas has grown so much, there's a lot of the city or where people live that is actually not within city limits. The whole southwest of Las Vegas actually is all considered unincorporated Clark County. You'll see this is the city limits of Las Vegas. This whole section over here in the southwest is all considered unincorporated Clark County. And that's the fastest growing area, and some surveys have said that it's the richest part of town even. Previously, short-term rentals were not even allowed in unincorporated Clark County. But then they did start a law that took effect in July of 2022, which had a process of applying for a license and everything. They had a limited number of licenses that they were going to approve. Those are all capped out now. So it's a little harder to get a license in unincorporated Clark County for your short-term rental now, but at least there's a process to do it. This is one of those things where if you're thinking about doing it and you want to get licensed on it, I want to check if are there any existing short-term rentals in the area too, because you also need to be 1,000 feet away from another one, and you have to be far enough away from a casino or hotel as well too. So keep that in mind. If you're thinking about doing a short-term rental in Las Vegas and the surrounding area, just keep in mind that pretty much all HOAs are not allowing you to do this. If you're trying to find a property, you're not going to look for one that's within an HOA. Chances are it's going to be against the bylaws. You can't do it. And if you get caught, HOA can fine you now. In Las Vegas, compared to other places in the country, we're kind of relatively easier to do it actually. We actually have a process here in place so you can do it. The fact that this is a tourist destination too, should have great high demand here too. There's always events that brings in a lot of people here too. And there are times where hotels are sold out, or on high demand weekends like New Year's Eve or holiday weekends, might not be able to find a bunch of hotel rooms. And maybe you're traveling with family and friends and you don't always want to eat out every day. Maybe you have kids with you and you don't want them walking through casinos all the time. There's a lot of reasons why it's a good idea to have it here too. So if you decide to do this in Las Vegas, you make your property nice. Don't get the cheapest furniture and stuff you find on Facebook Marketplace and just do a hodgepodge of furniture for the house. If you get like kind of crappy used furniture, it's probably gonna make your guests feel like, oh, I don't have to take care of it, right? But if it's nice stuff, chances are they're gonna say, well, I don't wanna mess it up because I'm gonna get fined for it. When you come to Vegas, they make you feel like a high roller, or like a baller here. So keep that in mind. If you want to just be as cheap as possible, chances are your nightly rates are not going to be very high, which takes away from your profitability as well too. A tip that I want to give you too is, if you do a short-term rental, right, chances are you're going to list on Airbnb or VRBO or maybe Furnished Finders. But just know that your reviews and your rating are so important, because if you piss off a guest and they give you a bad review, it just stays with your profile and it's going to be harder for you to book, because you could be very similar to somebody else, but they look at you and you have like a 2-star or something like that. Chances are they're going to go with the higher rating. So something that I always tell people is Airbnb or VRBO, they're never going to take your side. They're going to take the guest side every time, because you don't make it possible, the guests do. The reason why Airbnb is this major, huge, rich corporation is because of all the guests that go onto their website to book these properties, and then they take the fees from it. So chances are they're not going to piss off guests, because they start making the guests mad, they're going to go to these other platforms. What I hear from a lot of hosts is that try to work it out with the guest if you have problems. Just understand that a lot of people are here for like a good time and to enjoy themselves, right? So make that easy for them. So if you're thinking about getting one, having proximity to the strip, obviously important. Easy access to the airport, close proximity to places to eat, restaurants, shopping. Those things are all very important. We do have a lot of professional sports teams here now too. Maybe people are coming to town to catch a game. These are all factors you should consider when choosing where to buy. What if you live out of state too, and you're not the one that's actually going to the house? You're gonna find cleaners, number one, and you might need a manager, all right? How much does this manager cost? Right now in Las Vegas, a property manager that will do a short-term rental is gonna charge you anywhere from 20 to 30% of your revenue, all right? So keep that in mind when you're thinking about these numbers. And if you are living in town and you plan on managing yourself, just realize you're gonna have to be pretty available. Like if the AC goes out, there's no hot water, something's going on the house, you're going to have to be pretty available to go figure these things out for people. Because if you're in Las Vegas and it's summertime and the AC goes out and you can't get there for hours and you don't have people that can fix it for days, you're going to get a bad rating and your bookings are going to drop and you're going to start losing money big time. Well, I hope that kind of clarified and gave you kind of an update of the situation of doing Airbnbs and short-term rentals in Las Vegas. All right, if you're interested in getting started or want more information, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you, as I've helped many other people go down this road here in Las Vegas. I'm going to put links to each of the cities' websites where they have the application process in details below for you, so you can look it up. You can see how far you are from another property. Can you do one? Can you apply? So you're ready when you want to do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.